So like many teenage boys in the 1970s, I really wanted a hi-fi. And I went round to a friend's house once, and her father had this beautiful trio rack system with nice chunky aluminium knobs and handles, and it looked fantastic. But I didn't have any money. So I did what many teenage boys, I think, did in the mid-70s, which is I went and bought an Amstrad. An Amstrad was a go-to brand for people who wanted hi-fi but didn't have much money. And I initially bought the Amstrad 8000 Mark III amplifier. And I've looked for them on eBay, but they don't seem to come up. I suspect they haven't stood the test of time very well. But what I did see was this, which is the Amstrad 3000 tuner, which I got for £10. It came with a nice dim lead, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go, see how it is. You might wonder if it's really hi-fi, but I've looked it up in my 1997 hi-fi yearbook, and according to this, it's retailed for £48 excluding VAT. I suspect it's probably a bit cheaper in Comet. Overall, it's got a few dots on it, but it's not too bad. The main problem with is that the perspex front here is a bit loose. But anyway, let's have a closer look, see how it is. Right, if you look at the front here, there's a tuning knob, a power button, a mute button, an AFC button, and buttons for FM, medium wave and long wave. There's clearly some form of signal strength meter there. And let's have a look at the back. On the back it proudly says it's made in England. There's a 5-pin DIN output socket. There's 2 small screws to alter the output level, the mains input, and an FM aerial 75 ohm socket. So let's try turning it on. It's plugged in, I've put an air in the back, and now the moment of truth. Well, everything lights up, which is good. At present it's on FM, so let's see if there's any sign of a signal. Well, there's a stereo indicator there, and there's definitely some movement on the signal strength meter. So that looks promising. Actually, this sort of the orange glow looks rather good, I think. Let's try long wave, see what happens. No. Medium wave. Oh well, again there's some movement in the signal strength meter, so I think that's quite promising. Let's see if we can hook it up to some speakers and see what it sounds like. Right, so I've plugged it in. I've put on a fairly cheap rabbit ears type aerial that I got from the pound shop. And if you turn it on, this is to FM.
Continue. Amory, yeah, we do. 2 whales and a mini. Pardon?
It's clearly picking up a stereo signal there. One thing I did find a bit confusing at the start was I tend to tune where I thought it would be without looking at the figures, and the figures go from the lowest on the right to the highest on the left, which is a bit unusual. But as you can see, it's picking up stations. The signal indicator is using a bit, so that's FM, and if you go to medium wave, the sensitivity is a bit poor here. And it picked up a station a minute ago, but it seems to have lost it. So the medium wave is clearly a bit iffy. But there you go. So that's the Amstrad 3000 Mark II tuner. Overall, the medium wave reception is pretty ropey. Sometimes it finds a signal and sometimes it doesn't, and you certainly couldn't rely on it. The FM reception is better, and it does pull in quite a number of stations. Listening to it though, the vocals sometimes tend to have a nasal quality on songs, and it's certainly not as good as my main tuner. However, I do quite like it. One of the things I like about it is that the dial has got a nice amber glow, and I like the process of tuning in on an analog tuner. It's certainly much more warming and welcoming than the kind of bright blue figures you get on a DAB tuner like the one I've got. So I can see a place for it in those circumstances. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.